her bedroom, the door clicks and behind her, seeing the silence, and the boat was still there, open, waiting. The words are not muted, they shimmer faintly in deep crimson, as if freshly written from something warm and genuine. She stood still for a long second, staring at it like one stared at an unavoidable fate, and then began to run. The smiles were born in the young sparks had already vanished, no warmth remained, only an uncertain weight pressed against her as night unspoken, falling under her skin. The room felt colder than before, even though nothing had changed, or maybe everything had. She lowered herself onto the edge of bed, movement slow, cautious, as if the no emotion might snap the fragile line holding her reality together. Her gaze never left the book, and more than she breathed those words echo louder than anything else. Knew it now, running was useless, whatever over or was after her was not only a distant fall, but logic it followed her like shadows to her existence. Fingers hovered above the page before finally touching the words. The moment skin made contact a violent chill poured through her entire body. It was not cold like winter, it was deeper, invisible. As if something had slipped past her skin and brushed against her soul, her breath hit sharply. Fingers trembled against the page, the book felt alive. Not warm, not cold, awake. The letters beneath her pivoted edge faintly, responding to her touch like a heartbeat. She swallowed hard, suddenly overwhelmed by the certainty that this book was not just ink and paper, it was a bridge, a door, a secret passage straight to the one who wrote it. Somewhere far too close, Taehyung bolted upright. His body reacted before his mind could catch up. A sharp burst poured from his chest as if something had struck him from the inside. His hand flew to his heart, fingers curling into the fabric of his shirt. His heartbeat thundered violently, irregular, wild, fast, too fast. Sensation dived through him deep, far past flesh and bone. Passion spread through the walls he had built around his heart. His people dilated, breath coming heavy as a familiar presence wrapped around him. She touched it, his lips parted, a low, broken sound escaped him. He bent forward slightly, gripping the edge of couch. The connection snapped tight like a pulled wire, vibrating through his entire being. Whispered voice, rough, reverent, unhinged. His heartbeat slowly began to silence, not with his breath, but with something else, with hers. And for the first time, he didn't need a discipline. Didn't need surveillance, didn't need distance. She had opened the door herself. Curled up on the bed, breathed uneven, body trembling as a violent wind ran through her, raw and rigid, like something had passed through her rather than around her. The run tore out of her chest before she could stop it. It felt wrong, not pain, not fear, alone. Something far more disturbing, like her body had briefly become a passage, a portal to something ancient and forbidden, something she knew she had to stay away from. And yet, she was getting closer, closer to very thing she should be running from. The words on the page pulsed again, faintly glowing, as if alive, noting her hesitation, watching her under veil, waiting for her surrender. No, she whispered under her breath, her fingers dug into her ear, gripping hard, nails carving her scalp. Frustration and panic tangled together inside her chest. She yanked her hair once, twice, trying to ground herself, trying to break free from the invisible grip tightening around her mind. Enough. She pushed herself off the bed abruptly, heart hammering, refusing to stay there another second, turning away from the book, felt like tearing herself from the magnetic force. She walked out of the bedroom, the door slammed shut behind her with more force than intended. The sound echoed sharply through the penthouse. She did not look back. Distance. I just need distance. Her step was quick, uneven, heading straight towards the guest room. Maybe being away from it would help. Maybe the book only had power as long as she stayed near it. For a moment, just a fragile moment, she felt tighter. The pressure in her chest eased slightly, hope flickered. Top inside the guest room, her breath catch. The book was there on the bed, open, waiting, perfectly placed at the jungle pages, spread as if it had never moved. Like it had always belonged there, the same dark red words shimmered faintly, calm and patient, as though amused by her attempt to escape. Her blood ran cold. No, this is not possible, she whispered, voice shaking. She had not carried it, had not touched it, had not even looked back, yet it followed. No, it didn't follow, it arrived. A realization settled slowly deep in her bones. Distance doesn't matter, room doesn't matter, walls doesn't matter. She was not running from a book, she was running from something that already had access to her. It was not letting her go. Words began to write themselves slowly, deliberately, as if savoring her fear. Relax, Veda, don't panic. Her breath hitched. The words don't bite, I promise. I scanned the page frantically, heart pounding so loud she could hear it in her ears, then cut. The ink paused. Single drop of red bled deeper into the page. I do bite. Her blood ran ice cold, really hard. Her fingers twitched for instinctively trying to move, run, scream, but nothing responded. Limbs grew heavy, numb, like an invisible weight was pressing her down from the inside. Rest Vida, the glow intensified. If you're shaking like this over just a book, how will you face me? Her knees buckled, her vision blurred, scary thoughts right. Her body stopped responding entirely. Time didn't freeze this time, she did. Come on, rest. Her legs gave out. Before her body could hit the floor, an arm wrapped around her waist, strong, solid, unmistakably real, pulling her back against her broad, muscular chest. Palm alive, her head rested against his shoulder, breathed shallow, consciousness slipping, its specified, broken exhale brushed against her ear. Murmured voice thick with relief, obsession, dripping from every syllable. I have got you in my arms, Vida. His grip tightened just enough to feel possessive, claiming. Whole week, he whispered, pressing his face into her hair, inhaling deeply, greedily. It was hell. He lifted her effortlessly, carrying her limp body against him as if she weighed nothing. So damn close, he murmured, jaw clenched, carrying her towards the bed, and yet untouchable. He laid her down gently, carefully, as if she was something sacred or fragile or both. Slipped onto the bed beside her, pulling her into his chest, arm wrapped around her like a string, just as comfort. Come on, he whispered against her temple, nudging her softly. Let's cuddle. His hand brushed her hairs back with acting tenderness. I missed my Vida as she slept unaware, wrapped in a darkness she could no longer escape. His eyes burned open, glowing with satisfaction because now running was no longer an option. The entire night passed with him awake, not a blink, not a moment of rest. Lay beside her, dropped slightly on one elbow, eyes devouring every inch of her face as if committing her to memory. As if she was something he might lose if he ever dared to look away. The soft rise and fall of her chest drove him insane. Her lashes, the curve of her lips, the faint crease between her brows, even in sleep, like he was still fighting him in her dreams, he let out a hoarse whisper. You are breathtaking, with her fingers hovering just above her cheeks. You stole my breath long before I ever touched you. His jaw tightened. Tell me, how am I supposed to survive with you this close? He leaned down slowly, dangerously close, his breath brushing her skin as he lowered his face to the fragile line of her throat. And you know what? He murmured, voice dropping into something darker, older. This beauty. His lips hovered over her carotid, feeling her pulse flutter beneath the skin. Is mine. His eyes darkened, the red blooming slowly, deliberately. Do you hear me? He whispered, pressing his forehead to her neck. And let the universe share it too. His hand slid to her waist, grip tightening, not rough but final. Why Kim belongs to Kim Taehyung. A pause. Only me. Something feral fried in his chest. I'll burn the word, he said softly, almost lovingly. If anyone dares to take you away from me, her pulse jumped, his fang descended. Sharp, precise, possessive, they pierced her skin in a single, controlled motion, not hunger, ownership. Her body sighed faintly beneath him, a quiet sound slipping past her lips. But she didn't break. He held her tighter as if encoding her soul to his. He drank only enough, just enough to mark, to bind them. Pulling back, he pressed his lips to the wound, sealing it with a low, stressified breath. Mine, he whispered again, rested his forehead against hers as the dawn crept towards the city. And somewhere deep inside her, something answered back. Their souls bounded endlessly. He would feel it all, whatever would happen to her. Morning came quietly, too quietly. She woke to warmth where there shouldn't have been any. The mattress beneath her was still warm, recently warm, and the faint scent of a man's cologne lingered in the air. Not sharp, not overpowering, deep, clean, dangerous, the kind that clung to skin rather than fabric. Her eyes flew open, her breath hitched. For a split second she lay frozen, listening, heart pounding, ears running for a moment for proof she was not alone. Nothing. She shook off the sheets tangling around her legs as she swung them off the bed and stumbled toward the door, panic finally crashing into her chest, but she stopped. Mid-step, frozen, her reflection stared back at her from mirror across the room. Her face was pale, eyes wide, lips parted like she had forgot how to breathe. And there, right at her pulse, a deep red bite mark, perfect, precise, possessive. Her finger rose slowly, trembling, hovering just above it, afraid to touch. This, she whispered hoarsely, her blood ran cold. Memories hit her all at once, blurred, fragmented, terrifying. The book, the whispers, the weight around her arms, breathed, warmth that was not hers. Pressed her palm to the mirror as if grounding herself, but the woman staring back at her looked nothing like the one who had gone to sleep last night. Lines had been crossed. Thought stepped over, obliterated her chest tightened painfully, running. The thought surfaced out of habit and died just as quick. She knew with sick devastating clarity she couldn't run anymore. Not from him, not from whatever she had been pulled into, not from the mark burning against her skin like a flame. Her gaze dropped back to the bite, her fingers finally brushing it. It didn't hurt, that terrified her more than pain ever could. Stood shirtless in monitor room, shower water dripping from his body, watching her face, every flicker of tanning, every sharp inhale, every tremble of his fingers as they hovered over the mark on her neck. Saw it all live, uninterrupted, framed perfectly on the wall of monitor in front of him. The room he stood in was silent, except for the low hum of machinery. Dozens of screen, every angle of her penthouse, every blind spot erased, his jaw tightened as he felt the bite, good, something darker settling. Finally knows, he murmured, voice low, almost reverent, his fingers curled slowly at his eyes, the mark glowed faintly on the screen, a deep crimson against her skin. It was already working, he could feel her like a low pulse in his chest. She had not been there before, her face pressed against him, soft, raw, unfiltered. He closed his eyes for a brief second and inhaled sharply. Don't look at it like that, Vida, he whispered, opening his eyes again. It's not a wound. He leaned closer to the screen, palm flattening against the glass, where her reflection stared back at herself. It's a wound. On another monitor, her heartbeat spiked. On another, her body temperature shifted, subtle but unmistakable. He smiled, not wide, not playful, a predated smile. You felt it, didn't you? He continued quietly. Karmath, the calm, the way your body stopped fighting once I held you, his finger twitched, remembering the weight of her in his arms, how perfectly she fit, how naturally she belongs there. Running won't even cross your mind now, he said softly, not because I won't let you pause, but because your body won't. Behind him, Lee stood rigid, pale, barely breathing. Sir, Lee whispered, voice shaking the mark. It's progressing too fast. If this continues, the young had tilted slightly, a warning. Lee immediately fell silent. Gaze never left his skin as Ryan backed away from the mirror, horror written all over her face. She is stronger than you think, said calmly. That is why she survived the first night. His eyes darkened, and that is why she is worthy. He straightened, turning away from the monitor, already reaching for his coat. Cancel my meetings, he ordered coldly. Clear my schedule. Sir, are you going to head? Taehyung paused at the door, a slow, dangerous smile curved on his lips. Yes. Dad, I would love to enjoy breakfast with my Vida. He glanced back once more at the screen, at her shaking hands, her silent realization, her words collapsing. Dad screamed as he left the room, and on the screen, Ryan's heartbeat signing perfectly with his. On the front door snapped her back into reality, not gently, violently. Her breath itched, fingers curling into the fabric of her sleeve as if she were pressing for impact. Sound echoed again, solid, real, dragging her out of the horror, still clinging to her skin. Ryan stood there for a moment, staring her reflection in the mirror beside the hallway, looked nothing like her. Pale, hollow, eyes dulled as if something inside her had already been taken. Her feet moved, but it felt wrong, heavy, uncoordinated, like she was walking through water, like a corpse, obeying muscle memory. She reached for the door, unlocked it, pulled it open. Taehyung stood there, cheerful smile, soft eyes, messy hair still falling into his forehead, a breakfast tray balanced in his hand. Steam rising from the freshly made food. For a split second, the sight felt surreal. Hey, how are he stopped? The smile slid off his face. The tray tilted slightly as his eyes scanned her posture, her empty stare, the way she looked like she had not slept. Like she had not lived through the night at all. Hey, what's wrong? The tray crashed to the floor. The sound was sharp, ceramic shattering, food spilling across the marble, but she didn't flinch. Taehyung didn't even look down. He rushed forward instinctively, coming up to cup her face, thumbs brushing her cold cheeks. Ryan, what happened? Are you okay? His concerns were flawless, too flawless. Eyes lifted to his, really looked at him this time, and something inside her snapped. She stepped back hard, his hand fell to his sides. Go away, Taehyung. Her voice was flat, hollow, nothing like her usual tone. He froze. What? Don't come close to me, her voice cracked despite her efforts. There is danger around me. It will swallow you too. Please, just go. For the door, pushing it towards him, trying to shut him out, trying to shut everything out, but the door didn't move. The young hand slammed against it. The wood groaned under the pressure, her breath catch. Not expected that strength, not from him. He pushed the door back open effortlessly, stepping inside, his presence instantly filling the space. Stone chained, no warmth, no softness. Tell me what happened. It was not a request. Backed away again, heart hammering, her spine hitting the wall behind her. You don't understand, then make me. His eyes shut her face now, sharp, intense, linking just for a second too long to her neck. The collar of her shirt, she noticed, her hand flew up instinctively, covering the mark. That tiny moment was enough. Something dark flickered behind his eyes. Fast, she might have imagined it. Why are you hiding your neck? Silence fell between them, thick, suffocating. Her lips parted, but no sound came out, and Taehyung took one slow step towards her. Didn't give her time to react. Taehyung's finger closed around her wrist and pulled her hand away from her neck in one sharp movement. The world still there on her carotid crimson deep, fresh, a perfect mark, two punctures. Silence followed the penthouse. The fraction of a second, something ancient twisted inside him, a dark, vicious specification curling deep in his bones, but outwardly conserved, flooded his face. Sharp and immediate, his jaw tightened. He had to know if she remembered anything from last night. Her breath hitched as if the weight she had been carrying finally crushed her lungs. She shook her head slowly. I don't know anything, Tay. Her voice was barely there. A whisper, second, raw. The sound of her calling his name, that name, sent a violent shudder through him. He clenched his fist at his sides. Someone is following me. No, her breath broke. He's not following. He's closing on me like a predator. Her hand curled into his shirt unconsciously. Can't even run anymore. Taehyung's eyes darkened. You will never run. I will never let you with that. How would I breathe if you are not here? He thought. He's not human. A sob stabbed her. He's something mythical. Last night he was here, her eyes glazed, memories blurring. I remember pieces, flashes. He was on my bed, her voice cracked completely. Body shook, he drank my blood, the words shattered her. Vian, who had not cried in 15 years, broke, her knees gave out, something dark twisted inside him at her words. She collapsed forward, face buried into Taehyung's chest as soap poured out of her like something being wrapped alive. Arms wrapped around her, instantly firm, unyielding, protective, too perfect, a guttural sound urging out of him. You come this close to me, how am I supposed to stay focused? He thought, clenching his jaw tightly, barely holding a specified growl. Hand sliding to her hair, fingers threading through them gently as he held her against him. You are safe right now. He rested his chin lightly on her head. From her angle, she couldn't see his face. She couldn't see the way his eyes slowly burned dark red. She couldn't see the way his jaw tightened, not in anger but in ownership. Do you remember his face or anything else? His voice was soft, too soft, almost tender. His hand moved up and down on her back in slow, measured strokes. As if she were something fragile, something sacred, like porcelain he feared might crack under the slightest pressure. Ryan shook her head against his chest, soap still breaking free as her finger twisted his shirt tighter, clinging as if he were the last solid thing in the collapsing world. No, I don't remember, her breath shuddering, just the weight, the presence, like the air itself was watching me. A corner of the young lips curved, a smile that never reached the outside world. His eyes darkened, then slowly, unmistakably turned red. His other hand slid up, cupping the back of her head, his palm pressed gently against the skull. It's okay. A bright crimson ray burst out from his fingertips, sinking into the cranium like liquid light, warm, invasive, absolute. Vian gasped slowly, her body stiffened for a heartbeat, then relief. Heavy, crushing, sedative, her thoughts blurred, the fear dulled, the panic dissolved into his lips pressed dangerously close to her pulse as he whispered, Relax, Vian, I am here. The red glow pulsed once more, then slowly faded. Her lashes fluttered, her grip loosened, her body went limp against him, completely surrendered to the artificial sleep he had wrapped around her restless soul. Taehyung exhaled deeply, justified. He lifted her effortlessly into his arms, holding her close. Her head rested against his chest as if it had always belonged there. Relax, me, Vida. He carried her towards the bedroom, footsteps silent. You are safe. He laid her gently on the bed, adjusting the sheets, brushing stray hairs from her face with almost painful tenderness. Then he leaned down, his lips hovering just above the bite mark on her neck. A justified, possessive hum escaped his lips around your vampire. His eyes turned red again. Only yours, a pause, a promise, just like you are mine, Vida. He pulled back slowly, gaze lingering on her sleeping form, on the girl who didn't yet realize she had already crossed the point of no return. The hunt was over, the possession had begun, and that is far more dangerous. Rest fell, Vida. There is something big waiting for you, he whispered darkly.